Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome to Timberfalls, home for CNC creators like you. In today's video, we're going to go over how to make signs in Carveco Maker. I had a client reach out to me and ask me to make a sign for them. They sent me this picture of this old sign that they had hanging, and they want to get it replaced, but they want some details changed. They really liked the way the scroll of the sign existed. They wanted the sign to say Heron Bay Cove, a picture of some heron in a cove with sun and some clouds. Recently, I've been experimenting with using AI to generate graphics, and that's exactly what I did here. I gave this picture to ChatGPT and I asked it to make me a new sign using the same scroll design of this existing sign. It gave it the details and asked it to make me a new sign. I have a video explaining how to make these AI designs. I'll link that in the description below. The first thing we want to do is start a new model, and we're going to set our dimensions to the size of the material of the sign. Now the sign that I'm using is going to be 32 inches wide, and we're going to use 28 inches tall, and that's actually the piece of material that I'm going to cut the sign out of. I'm going to be referencing the center, as this is going to be a two-sided sign, so when I flip it over, everything starts from the center. And once we press OK, we're going to open up our material. The first thing that I need to do is import that bitmap of our picture. So we're going to go over here to our bitmaps on our tabs, and we're just going to import. Now I could use this folder down here. I can right click it, go to import. There's several quick ways to do that. We're just going to import the picture of that sign. And now that we have it imported, we just need to create vectors in order to have something to cut with, because we can't cut this as a bitmap. We need vectors in order to tell the machine where to make the cuts. To do this, we're going to use our bitmap to vector tool. When I open up the bitmap to vector tool, the first thing we want to do is reduce our colors. Now this is a black and white image, so we're going to go all the way down to 2 colors, which is going to make this black and white, or black and gray. Closest thing to black and white as we can. And we're going to be creating boundaries, not center lines. So we're going to check this. We're going to uncheck this. So we're creating a boundary around the dark color. I want it to create sharp edges. So I only want this about 60% smooth. And we're going to change the speckle size down to 10 because we want to make sure we don't miss anything. We're going to create our vectors, and you can see that it's created all of the vectors around all of that black area. Now let's close this, and we're going to go over here. We're on our 3D view now. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this display material, and that's going to turn off that bitmap layer that was underneath. If you wanted to see that bitmap layer, you can always click the bitmap layer back on. But this toggles the bitmap layer on and off. Now, one thing to note, that during our tracing, we actually created this box down and around rather than up the way we wanted it. So we're going to have to do just a little bit of editing in order to fix this. So we're going to do that now. So basically what I want to do is I want to turn on my node editor, which is here. We also can press N on the keyboard to turn on our node editor. And I'm going to be using the cut or C. If I hover over these, right click, I can go to cut vector, or also can press C on the keyboard. So we're going to press C on the keyboard here, 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 and here. Okay. And we could just delete this, and we can delete this. Okay. And then we want to select this line, and let's select this line, and we're just going to join these with the line. We're going to do that. Come over here. Join vectors with the line. So we've done that. We've joined them with the line. Now we want to close it with the line. So we've joined them together. Now we're going to close it with the line. We press our close with the line, and you can see that's disappeared because now we have a closed vector. That closed vector goes all the way around our project. That looks good. One thing I noticed right off the bat is that this line right here is not perfectly straight or smooth. It's got some little deviations in it here and there. Same thing with a lot of these lines. They have some little deviations. What we're going to do is a little trick to try and clean this up a little bit. I'm just going to highlight the entire vectors, and we're going to use 2 different tools. We're going to use our Arc Fit vector tool, and we're also going to use our spline vector tool. I have a video showing how to do this. If you want to go into this in a little bit more detail, I'll link the description to that video in the description as well. But this will show you how to do this little trick where we're going to jump back and forth between fit arc to vectors and the spline vectors tool using two different tolerances in order to straighten these out. I'm going to try and zoom in on some of this to see if you can see how it straightens it out. But first thing we're going to do is spline the vectors and then arc fit the vectors. Now, I don't know if you noticed it when I did it, but it did change the curvedness of that and straightened it out. Now we just want to make sure that we didn't deform. So it looks like we did deform. Let's go back. So it did deform my lettering. So let's do this. We're just going to highlight everything except the lettering. I'm going to leave my lettering off. So we're just going to unclick the lettering here, because the lettering didn't look too bad. And you got to be careful with the straightening tool, because it will straighten things that have corner angles, and you got to be careful or it can round out your project. So let's try this. So let's go to the spline, then arc fit. Okay, I like the way that came out. That looks a lot better. Everything looks smooth. The lettering stayed straight. And a lot of our vectors have straightened out quite a bit. There's a little bit here and there that could probably, if I really wanted to get in a detailed, I could go in here and make little adjustments. For most projects, you're not really going to notice any of those designs or those little marks or anything. Those are so small. At scale, you really won't see them. So I wouldn't worry about being super perfect with this kind of stuff. Being pretty close is still going to look really amazing. Now that we have our vectors drawn out and our sign completed, we're ready to start doing our toolpath. Now to toolpath this sign, first thing I need to do is I need to resize my vectors so that it fills up my material as closely as possible to the size that I want it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over here and use our transform tool, and we're going to resize this. Now let's try and change the width to that 30 that I wanted to get it, and we're going to uncheck the aspect ratio, and we're going to change this. We're going to make it a little taller. Now that stretched it a little more than I wanted. Let's try 24. Okay, we're going to go with this. I'm just going to go with 22 by 30. I like the way it's shaped. It looks good. And we're just going to go with that design. Okay, and now I'm ready to toolpath. Now, this design, in the original picture, this black rim was raised up and the white part was recessed. So that's what we're going to do for this sign. We're going to have that black rim raised. We're going to have the base of the white part of the sign recessed, and then we're going to V-carve all of the details into the sign. So the first thing I want to do is create that recess. So I'm going to select this inner vector, and we're just going to be using an area clearance toolpath to create the recess. Now I want to go ahead and come down here and set up my material thickness. Now, this particular piece of material is 1.5 inches thick. So let's put 1.5 for our material. And then what we're going to do is we're going to recess this 1/2 inch. So my finish depth is going to be 0.5. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch compression bit. This is the Jenny compression bit. I really like these bits. These are some of the best bits for doing signs in this kind of work. The upcut portion of the bit gives a smooth surface, while the downcut portion leaves my top edge clean. So this is a great bit for this pocketing job. I am going to use the offset, and we're going to start from the inside, going inside out. We are going to add some ramping moves so that when it plunges in that first plunge, it ramps into it. I'm going to set my safe Z. I don't have any clamps on top of the material. I just have it screwed down. So we're going to move this to 0.2. Okay, and now that we calculate that toolpath, you can see that we have created our pocketing for this inside part. Now, when creating this sign, the way I usually do that, so we would carve this down and then paint the whole sign white. After we paint the whole sign white, we would put masking down and then V-carve all of these details through the white so that we have masking so that it's masked to paint it black. So our next toolpath is going to be our V-carve toolpath. Let's turn off this toolpath so we can see our vectors. And we're just going to highlight all of the things that we want to V-carve. So all of the details on the inside. I'm just going to open up my V-carve toolpath. Now, we pocketed this down to 1/2 inch. So we're going to need to start at that 1/2 inch. So my starting position is going to be 0.5. I want to select a 90-degree V-bit. And we're going to be using our 90-degree 3/8 groove V Jenny. This is a downcut V bit. It's excellent for doing these kinds of signs. It's a really great bit. Now, if I refresh my width and depth information, you can see that it wants to go down almost an inch using this bit. So what we're going to do is come up here and limit our depth, and we're going to limit this carve to 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to V-carve the 1/4 of an inch down, but that means we're going to need a roughing tool. Now, because I want to try and catch as much detail as possible, for my roughing tool, I'm actually going to use a taper ball nose bit. And I'm going to use this 1/16 Skinny Jenny taper ball nose bit as my roughing tool. Now, the reason that I'm using that as my roughing tool is because I want to rough out as much as possible in all of these little spots. And usually an end mill is going to be too big to fit down into a lot of these little grooves that may need a little bit of roughing. The ball nose will also leave a very smooth bottom inside of the open places that are bigger. So it's a little bit better than, say, like a V groove, and it'll work better than a really tiny end mill because it'll be able to reach in better places. Okay, and then we just need to calculate that tool path. Let's just run a quick simulation to see how it looks. And that looks really good. Everything looks nice and even. Everything is carved nice and even. Let's delete our simulation. I'm going to turn our vectors back on. Okay, and then now that I have that carved, what we would do is we would paint the lettering and paint the outside edge of this border black. Because we had painted the entire sign white previously before this V-bit carving, this will create our white on black. The client had asked me to create some holes to hang this sign from, and they're supposed to go up here in these corners. So we're going to use our circle tool, and we're really just eyeballing this circle. I am going to make it exactly 1/4 inch because I do want the radius of it to be a set size. So we've created a 1/4 inch circle. Now, to make sure that this is even on both sides, what I'm going to do is copy that, pressing Control C. You also could right click and hit copy or Control C. We're going to paste it, which is Control V. And so I have a circle pasted on top of a circle. Now, if I take this mirror vector and I mirror it across my model, this will mirror this in the exact same position across my model. So now I've created my 2 bottom holes, and all I have to do is sort of repeat that same process. We just copy those 2 holes. We hit Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So now we're just going to right click and we're going to mirror. This time we're going to mirror over model, and the over model moved our 2 copied points up here into our corner, and that gives us an exact positioning on all 4 holes, that those are even on all 4 sides. Now all we have to do is go ahead and drill these holes out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of the little holes, and we're going to use an area clearance toolpath. I like to use the area clearance toolpath with a smaller bit, so we're going to use the holes were 1/4 inch, but we're going to use a 1/8 inch end mill in order to cut these out. I do want it to go the entire depth, so we're going to put 1.5 so that it goes all the way through. Now, we had already carved down 1/2 inch. So if we want it to skip over that first 1/2 inch, what we could do is put a 1/2 inch starting depth and then a 1 inch finish depth. So that'll be our 1.5 inch that it'll carve all the way through. We're going to use the offset starting on the inside. And so that just spirals the bit until it cuts this entire circle. It's going to make a nice even circle with that. And if we calculate, you'll be able to see that it created this nice circular pattern. Now you also could use these holes to align your second side. So I'm going to be flipping this piece of material over, and I'm going to carve the same thing on the second side. So a great thing about these holes is they make great alignment pins. So what I might do is stick a dowel down through these holes into my spool board, and that way when I lift my wood off, I can flip it over, put it back on these holes, slide it back down, and it will be perfectly aligned for side 2. At this point, I would probably go ahead and flip the sign over and start side 2 and repeat the same steps. That way, when we finally cut it out with our profile pass, we're cutting out both sides completed. So this is the point where you would flip it over and cut the other side and just repeat the same area clearance and V-bit carving toolpath. Our last step is going to be to cut the sign out. So all we need to do is select our outer profile. We're going to go to our profile toolpath, selecting the outside. Now I want it to have sharp corners, and our finished depth is the full depth of the wood, 1.5 inch. We're going to use a down cut end mill because we want the whole sides of the outside to be smooth with a clean top edge. I am going to be adding ramping, and we're going to use the smooth ramp. Now, since this is a profile pass, I really want to slow down this feed rate. I'm going to move this down to 80 inches a minute. Let's go with a 40 inch a minute plunge rate. And we're just slowing this down because in a profile pass, you're cutting both sides of the bit. And so the chip load doubles for these profile passes. When we cut it out, we don't want it to be hanging loose. So I do want to add some bridges. I need to tell these bridges how big the bridges or tabs are going to be. And let's just make them 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And we want about 4 of them. Now I could just let it put them wherever it wanted to, but I want to designate exactly where I want them. So we're going to click this edit bridges button, and then that allows us to come in here and manually put our bridges where we want them. And so where I'm going to put them is on the flats, the sign down, so that it's easy to sand off in a flat spot and will leave a nice finish. So 4 tabs will be plenty to hold the sign in, and that's all we should need to cut this out. So now we hit calculate. And once we finish our calculation, we're going to run a simulation to see how that cuts it out. I noticed that this path was fairly thin, and it looks like that I selected the 1/8 inch Jenny down shear. It doesn't matter whether I use a 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch. I intended to use a 1/4 inch because it would be faster. Let's make sure we have our feed rate set. We simulate the whole project, and you can see that we've created our sign. And that's how we make a sign in Carveco Maker. Here's a picture of our finished sign after we've completed it. Guys, if you found this tutorial helpful, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and share this with someone. I'd like to give a big thanks to all of our Timberfalls Elite members. You guys keep the bit spinning, and we really appreciate your support. If you're interested in becoming a Timberfalls Elite, check out the link below or our website at timberfalls.us. Thanks, guys.